boy, I'll tell you, right smack dab in the middle of training camp, we're looking back at week 2, looking ahead at the final week of preseason games. We get a story out of Miami and Tua Tagovailoa that's just absolute wildfire. Now, look, the thing is that this story comes out today, and it's a big deal, what happened with Tua, which I'm going to explain in a second. But there are certain quarterbacks, and Tua is one of them, regardless what you think about him as a player, is that Tua is one of those guys, he's like Dak. He's one of those guys that, hey, is a really good quarterback, but he's not Mahomes. He's still really good, but he's still so polarizing with what people think about him in his career and how good he is. And there's just an optic and an aura about him that polarizes people. So anything that comes up with Tua is a big deal. And it seems insane. Tua's pretty good. He got paid. He's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the game. But when things happen, certain quarterbacks, okay, hey, Tua becomes a conversation. Kirk Cousins, not so much, right? Dak Prescott becomes a conversation. Yeah, happy birthday, Kirk Cousins. Happy birthday, John Stamos, oh, by the way. Alex Teichert off for John Stamos' birthday.
That's too bad.
Something happens with Josh Allen. Nobody really cares. But Tua. And this gets us to what happened today. Tua goes on the Dan Le Batard podcast, and he is asked about Brian Flores, former head coach at Miami. This is a guy who lost his job, then was suing the NFL because he said that the Dolphins made him tank, and he didn't want to do that, and there was a whole big investigation on this, and Brian Flores is hoping to become another head coach. Well, now he's defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings, and to say that Brian Flores and Tua Tagovailoa didn't get along well in 2021, that would be underselling it. Now, things are great with Mike McDaniel now, who's come in the last couple of years with his short pants and his big feet, and suddenly, hey, we're rolling now. I'm an offensive genius. But two of the first
That's a good callback for those that listened to the interview with Raheem Mostert from the other day, which is available wherever podcasts are downloaded.
And now people look at, does he have big? Yeah, he's got short pants and big feet. That's Mike McDaniel. Flores was his head coach for the first couple of years of his career, and Tua's career at that point was kind of a, are they going to keep me, are they not? Are they going to develop me, are they not? I remember back then, 2020, 2021, it was, boy, they drafted Tua, but they seemed to be a push-pull within the organization as to whether or not he's the future, whether or not he's going to play, and they're going to turn the keys to the offense over to him. And today, Tua kind of let slip, the reason is because Brian Flores hated me. Take a listen. This is Tua from today from the Dan Le Batard podcast.
To put it in simplest terms, if you woke up every morning and I told you you suck at what you did, that you don't belong doing what you do, that you shouldn't be here, that this guy should be here, that you haven't earned this right, and then you have somebody else come in and tell you, dude, you are the best fit for this. You are accurate, you are the best whatever, you are this, you are that. How would it make you feel listening to one or the other? You see what I'm saying? And then you hear it, regardless of what it is, the good or the bad. And you hear it more and more, you start to actually believe that. I don't care who you are. You could be the president of the United States. You have a terrible person that's telling you things that you don't want to hear, or that you probably shouldn't be hearing. You're going to start to believe that about yourself.
Okay, now, first of all, he could be talking about his time as a quarterback or logging on to social media, because that's every day. Some people tell you suck. I'm like, yeah, this is every day for me. I get on social media. I get people telling me I suck. I get people telling me they love the show. Okay, that's every day, right? But the difference is, people telling you suck on social media are people. It's not your head coach. And this is what Tua is saying that Brian Flores did to him every day. And he called him a terrible person. Now, Kevin O'Connell, Vikings head coach, had to put out a statement today saying, hey, look, Brian Flores, our DC, has great relationships with everybody on the teams. Hey, don't worry, we love Brian. Brian Flores is great. But here's to calling his former head coach a terrible person. You hear a lot of things, but Mike, I'll tell you, hearing that is one of those, you stop and go, what did he just say about his former head coach?
No, but that's the thing, right? There's different styles of coaching. We've talked a lot about the changing ways of players right? We was a background discussion a lot in Caleb Williams of how much people loved him or didn't, and how much you blew up or didn't when he went into the stands, or that he's got nail polish, or that he had that, whatever they're calling it, the large bag he's carrying. Because it always has some pejorative names, so call it what you will. But all of those things get people, excitable. With Tua here, he might just be encapsulating Flores' coaching style into the "you suck" versus, harsh critiques, criticisms, etc. It's no secret they didn't get along. The timing of it is suspect. I know Le Batard's, going to push and prod, and we knew that there was an issue there. But, to lean into it, yeah, it's under the surface, and this is one of those, I wish he would have just taken the iPad and done the Michael Jordan, after his career and said, I took that personally after he's gone on to a great career. But he decided to do it now, so that's fine. So here it is. But, yeah, the stuff about who Flores is, that's the bigger deal. Right, you can disagree with coaching style, but he took it a step or two beyond that line.
Well, first of all, you could tell how upset he was. I don't like this guy at all.
No, I hate this guy. At all.
I started looking right away. Hey, do the Dolphins play the Vikings this year? But look, no matter whose side you are on this, because you hear something from Tua, and anytime you hear a story like this, you go, okay, what's the other side going to be? I'm sure Brian Flores is going to have his side to things, and he's gonna say some things, but this is one thing that really, to give you something a little bit different that you haven't heard all day about this story, is that no matter what side you come down on, hey, I believe Tua. I thought, obviously we see McDaniel's success with him, so maybe it was Brian Flores' fault, just like we see how good the Philadelphia Phillies are. Maybe it was all Joe Girardi's fault. No matter whose side you're on with this is 100% on Flores, because not developing your quarterback or putting him in the best position to succeed, that's on you. And clearly you did not put your quarterback in the best position to succeed. I know this because I see Tua succeeding with Mike McDaniel, right? This is not like, boy, he still stinks and you're kind of wondering, well, is he really good? He hasn't shown it. No, the guy's throwing for nearly 5,000 yards, got a $240 million contract extension. The players love him. He can throw deep to Tyreek Hill. He just has to put every emphasis he's got on the ball to get it deep to Tyreek Hill. Your job as head coach, get your players to be the best versions of themselves they can be. And if you're not doing that, guess what? You shouldn't be a head coach, because it doesn't matter if you like the guy or not. Hey, Tua Tagovailoa was taken in the first round of the draft to be your quarterback of the future. Well, guess what? You got to develop him. And that's your fault. If your quarterback's walking around going, I think I stink, I think this, not everybody you can motivate the same way. Mm-hmm. And that's a big thing. It used to be, hey, tough love for all the players, and if you can't take how I'm going to tell you, you suck, hey, that's on you, right? Because if you want to just say maybe this was Brian Flores saying, hey, this is kind of how I do it, obviously it didn't work. You got to know players as individuals. You got to do your job as a coach and know that, okay, the message to one guy is not going to put him in a position to succeed like a message to the other guy. Some guys can take the message of, hey, you're fighting for your job. Some guys like Kirk Cousins are still going to say, I don't like the fact you took Michael Penix Jr. Hey, you can maybe, too, as a guy, you could put pressure on top. Obviously, that wasn't the case. You have to fill him with positivity, and you could kind of see that. Hey, Tua is a guy that feeds back and feeds off of positivity. That's you as a head coach. So no matter what side you're on this was a fail by Flores in not bringing this out of your franchise quarterback, and it's why he's not the head coach.
Right, you have to learn who your individual players are, particularly the stars, man. Look, this ain't the second to last guy that's winning a job on special teams in the preseason. This is the guy that they picked to lead the franchise. And I get it. Defensive head coach. Maybe you don't know what makes him tick, but you are the guy in charge. So that it's up to you. It's incumbent upon you to figure it out. And it's no surprise O'Connell employs him right now. So what's he going to say? Nah, it's been nothing but battles on the other side. But I think it's going to make it really good week one, because they're all going to be pissed off, and they're going to go and play a whale of a game. No, he's not going to say that. Likewise, I'd like to think that Flores, with everything that's going on, lawsuits and everything else, and that time in Miami, that maybe he learned and he grew a little bit to recognize that. Or maybe the fact that he's not a head coach and doesn't have to, make sure everybody's all good all across, every position, especially when you're looking at the temperament of a quarterback, is that he can just get back with the defensive guys, and maybe that's a place of more comfort.